Hello, everybody, and welcome to this next training session for Microsoft Dynamics CRM 2016. So today's training session, as you already know, will be covering reports and report wizard. So that's the basics of the reporting side of Dynamics CRM 2016. Once again, my name is Jan Jaskulski. I'm a senior technical consultant here at CRM Dynamics. My contact information is currently on the screen, so you're more than welcome to send any questions or inquiries directly to myself, and I'll make sure that the appropriate individuals are brought in to answer any questions that you may have. All right, so today's session, reports and the report wizard. So just to let everybody know what this session will involve exactly, which is the options that are available natively within Dynamics CRM 2016 in terms of how can you create a report using just the built-in CRM reporting section. Okay, there are other methods that are used for reporting that require some developer knowledge, knowledge of the back end and things like that. We're not going to be diving into that aspect of it. We're going to be diving into what can CRM do in terms of reporting, what types of reports are out of the box, and what options are there available for creating your own custom reports directly out of CRM. The topics in particular we will be looking at is first and foremost, what's built in CRM reports? What reports come out of the box natively inside CRM, already done and completed for you? Then we're going to move on to creating and updating your own custom CRM reports. Then we're going to go to charting. So how would you add a chart and how are charts displayed within reporting? Then scheduling report snapshots, which is essentially a report as it would have appear on a particular date and time, and we'll go through that in detail once we get to that section. And the last section we'll be covering is just the final details on just some reporting properties and settings that you should be made aware of for configuring your reports within your organization. All right, so we're going to dive right into CRM right now and take a quick look. So we're going to be demonstrating in Dynamics CRM 2016. This is almost nearly identical to what you'd see in 2013 and 2015 in terms of the and actually in 2011 as well in terms of how to create a report. The only differences you may find is in the menu structure. When I go into the menu, they may look a little bit different if you have a different version. But once we get to the report section, everything should be nearly identical. Okay. To get to the reporting section is usually in native CRM, it is found in the sales section underneath tools and reports. If your organization has upgraded from a 2011 version or older, you may notice that your reports are not in a sales section, but rather in a workplace section. The workplace section no longer exists for new organizations starting off from 2013 or higher, but it would be carried over if your organization had upgraded from 2011 or earlier. So you may notice that little bit of a difference. This is a brand new organization, so it is in the sales section. So I'm just going to open up the report section. When you get to the report section, you will see a number of reports that are already there for you. This includes all of the reports that are installed for you out of the box within Dynamics CRM. You may see some extra ones in my list here because we do have some custom reports here as well, but there are a number of reports including things like case summaries, orders and quotes, which are sort of pre-configured orders and quotes and reports done for you. And let's click on one of these. And when you click on one of these names, what it does is it opens up the report right away for you, asks you which records you'd like to report on, and then you would click Run Report. Okay, so that's what happens when you click natively on that link there. Once the report opens, you have your full report. If it has a chart, it will display a chart. Some reports are just tables. Clicking on any of the records within the reports will usually allow you to drill down, and actually you can actually click on the individual headings inside the report, allowing you to drill into those records directly. So that's a nice advantage of the built-in reporting, is that gives you access directly into those records that are in the reports without the need of for somebody to actually have to code that information into the report. You could just simply click on the built-in report and drill down to the appropriate data. I guess we're just going to wait for this to load. That's the company that we just clicked on here, Sharp Innovations, and that has come up. We do have quite a bit of information on our form here, so it did take a little bit longer to load, but this is how you would drill down into that information. Okay, so there's a number of the reports out of the box, and some of them may work for you. Odds are all of them won't necessarily match up to your business logic or the appropriate data that you're looking for. So in that case, what we would do is we would need to create our own custom report. So our own custom reports can be easily created within Dynamics CRM from the report section by clicking this new button. When you click that, it will open up a small window, and that window will show you a few options here. Okay, we're going to be concentrating on the reports that are built into CRM. There are a few different types. So there's a report wizard, which is what you can create within CRM. Then there's an existing file and a link to a web page. So existing file is something that a developer would create for you, and you would upload into CRM, which is completely custom, and you would require knowledge of SQL, XML, and other types of languages to be able to create those. And a link to a web page. So that's if you have a report on another website somewhere that you'd like to be able to access from a link within CRM, you would be able to do that as well. So we're going to be concentrating on the report wizard. When creating a new report from the report wizard, what you would do is you simply click the new button and then click on the report wizard. What this will do is this will step us through all the steps needed to actually build a report for us. So here we're going to be starting from a new report. We're going to be going through a new report first, and then later we're going to be touching on editing a report. So this new report, we're going to click Next. And here it asks us for some basic information. So here I'm going to create a report called Sales Status. That's a sales status report. And we're going to be running this against our primary record type. So the primary record type is the entity or the record that we're going to be reporting against. So sales within this organization, we're just going to assume it is all done within opportunities. So we're going to select an opportunity. And then below that you see a related record type. This related record type allows you to pull in information from a related or linked record within this within the CRM. So here you don't have to select one, but you can if you wish. So there are a number of fields you can use. You can use activities, letters, notes. You can pull in note information from the note section, information from quotes, and so on and so forth. So if you have many different record types underneath the opportunity that you'd like to report against, you can select those, and those would be available to select from. With this report, we're going to keep it relatively simple as our first report, and we're going to concentrate on just the information out of the opportunity. We're going to create a very simple report to capture some revenue information. So once we've done that, we're going to click Next. And on this page here, what this defines is this defines your default filter. So when you run this report, each time, what is it going to assume your filter is going to be each time you run this report? It's not locked in place, so you'll always be able to change it each time you run a report, but by default it'll assume a particular filter. So we're going to leave this as is. This works very similar to Advanced Find. You can select any field and filter on any field that you wish, same as you would with an Advanced Find, including grouping ands and ors. We're going to leave it as modified within the last 30 days. That's a good sort of estimate for us for our sales report is give us everything that's been touched in the past 30 days, and we're going to get some numbers out of that. We're going to click Next here, and this is where you actually build the report structure. Okay. Now, within the report wizard, you are limited to the report structure. You can't create a custom structure within here, but you can move the columns and the groupings around. The first three sections here, up at the top, allow you to group your information. So you could group it by the company name or the opportunity stage or any number of fields that you can choose, up to 3 groupings. You can't go any more than 3, and you need at least 1 to be able to do a grouped report. Within the square here, here's where you add what information from each row do you want to display. Okay, so I'm going to start off with some basic information here. I'm going to start off with an initial grouping, and it's from the opportunity. I'm going to select here. I'm going to select, say, a sales stage. Okay, what stage it is on. Okay, and I'm going to select a summary of count. So that means it'll tell me how many are in each sales stage. Okay, then we can add another grouping here. I'm going to add a second grouping, and here I'm just going to go the opportunities by, scroll up here, by the, where is that? I think I scroll a little bit farther. A potential customer. Okay, so that's the customer that we're looking at, and again, count. So that'll give us the count of the opportunities that are grouped within that potential customer. And click OK. Now, if you ever need to move these around, you can always use the arrows up and down, and that will shift everything over, and you can change these groupings, which order they group in. So if you don't like it, you can always change that around. Now I'm going to go into the inside box, and I'm going to say, okay, give me the topic of the opportunity, and then here I would like to know the estimated revenue. Okay, I'm going to put the estimated revenue here. So very simple report, grouped by sales stage, potential customer, and for each customer gives me the topic and revenue. Okay, again, you can move these around using the arrow keys, same way you did up at the top there. If you want to change the properties of a particular item, you just click on it and click Change Properties, and then you can change the width of it, so we can make the topic a little bit wider so we can read it a little bit better. And then once you're happy with your layout, again, you can select top and bottom number. It just specifies how many records you want it to show. And then once you're happy, you click Next, and that moves on to the report format. Do you want it to display as a table, or do you want it to display as a chart and a table? If you notice here, it's not letting me click on chart and table. There's a reason for that. Dynamic CRM is very particular as to what it is allowed to graph within this chart and table section. Okay, and it's specified here within this yellow bar. If you want to use a chart in this report, click back and then enter or add a summary typed to an existing numeric column, or add a new numeric column with a summary type. If we go back and we take a look here, it looks like we have a summary, which in fact we do. The trick here is the summary has to be within the rows here. It cannot be a summary that's used in the grouping. It has to be a summary on a numeric field within the row. So if I go back into my estimated revenue and change the properties, I'll give that a summary of sum, give me the sum of all the estimated revenue, and then click Next. Now I'm allowed to click chart and table. Okay, so that's where some people forget that those two sections are independent. It has to be within the row, not within the grouping, to allow the chart and table to be enabled. Okay, our first one we're going to do table only, and then once we go into the edit portion, we'll make some changes, make some fixes, because we're going to want to make some modifications to it after we're done, and then we're going to click Next. So we're doing a table only, Next, and now we're going to click Finish. Okay, so once we click Finish, we can run this report directly from here by clicking Run Report, or we can go into the list and click the name on there. Since we already have this screen open, we're just going to click Run Report. So once I click that, It's going to run through the report, and as you see here, this is our primary grouping, our secondary grouping, and then our topic, and then our estimated revenue. And you see here, this one here, ABC Company, has two opportunities, one for 18, one for 14,000, and here is the total of both of the opportunities at the bottom there. Okay, and that is a very basic version of the report. And again, you can click these. These are clickable. The individual row items are clickable, so you can drill down directly into that CRM record. Okay, it could be multiple pages. If there's multiple pages, just flip through the pages here. You can print the report directly from here. Just a quick note on printing. Printing is only supported in Internet Explorer. It is not supported at this point in Chrome, so you may not see this button in Chrome. If you do need to print in Chrome, that would be you would need to export the report and then print it from another application, and that's simply because of a limitation on Chrome. It doesn't support that type of control. But you can easily just open it up as a web archive, a PDF, any one of these documents you can download a report as and then print it off from that related application. Okay. Now this report here, if you notice, I picked sales stage, and every single one is missing a sales stage. You know what? I just realized we don't use sales stage in our organization. In our organization, we use something called a pipeline stage. Okay. So now, what are we going to do with this report? Well, it's time to modify this report. Okay. So let's assume we close down the window, and we find our report here. So here's our sales status report, the one that we just created. If we click it, it'll run the report. So to edit it, we have to select it and then click Edit up at the top in the menu bar. That'll bring us back to that screen. And what we can do is we just click Run Report again, directly on this report here. Now that we click Run Report, it'll give us the option. Do you want to start a new report? Do you want to start from an existing report? We are going to want to start from an existing report. And do we want to overwrite this report, or do you want to create a copy of it with slightly different information? We want to overwrite this one in this particular case because we're updating it because we picked the incorrect field, so to say. Okay, so we're just going to click Next a few times. Everything here remains exactly the same fields. Here's where our problem is. We don't use sales stage. So we're going to remove that grouping, and we're going to add a new grouping. So in here we are going to use our pipeline phase here. Okay, that's the field we want to use. We're going to add that. It's not in the right spot, so we're just going to shift it up. Okay, and a lot of people have complained about this report, saying we would need a nice simple way of seeing the summary. So this time around, we're going to add in a chart. So we're going to click the chart as well. And there's two options for chart. One is having a chart and then having the table with all the information that's within that chart right underneath it, or having a chart that you can drill down into. We're going to select the chart that we drill down into. It's a little bit cleaner in terms of looking at it. You don't have a giant chart, and you can easily get to the information, the exact information you're looking for. We're going to click Next. And we're going to now select the type of chart that we're looking for. So we could do a vertical bar, horizontal bar, line chart, or pie. Pie automatically does it in percentages, so it'll tell us which pipeline phase has how many percentages. It is based on your primary grouping of your chart. We're going to select vertical bar because it's nice and easy. And here is where you define your particular X and Y axis. For us, this makes perfect sense. Vertically, we're going to go up estimated revenue and pipeline phase. I don't like these labels. They're a little bit too long, so you can always change these labels, phase and estimated revenue. It doesn't actually display a chart, just displays the little picture of it. It just shows you how the labels will look on the chart. So now that we're happy with this, we're going to click Next, Next, and Finish. Okay, so now what it does is it has updated our report. It lets us know our report has been saved, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run the report again. Okay, so this is the same report that we just edited and added a few little changes, a few little updates too. Okay, so now if you take a look, we have a nice chart to display our estimated revenue. Okay, and here are our different phases. We have some that aren't in a phase yet, and we notice that most of our information is in the qualify phase. If I wanted to see what's inside this qualify phase, I would simply just click on this bar. Once I click on the bar, the report would regenerate just for this bar, and it would give me a full summary of just what's in the qualify phase. Okay. Then if I click back, I can go back to the chart, I can click a different phase and take a look at that. And again, still same as before, these are still clickable. You can still drill down into the individual records as well. Okay. So this is the sort of basics of the graphing. You can't customize the colors or things like that natively within the wizard. You would need to have somebody that has some developer knowledge to make those additional changes. So we're not going to be covering that because that's not natively within the CRM report wizard. But this is what you can do. And again, you could do vertical, horizontal, line, and pie charts for your report, and it's one graph per report. Okay, so that means you can do only the one. Okay, so now everybody has reviewed it in our organization, and we're assuming that everything is good and everybody is happy with this report. Okay, so what do we do with this report now? Well, you know what? One of the managers needs to see this report on a weekly basis to know exactly. Every Monday, I want to know where everything stands every Monday. But this individual also doesn't have time to run this report and check it every Monday. So what happens in that case? In that case, what we need to do is we need to look at something called scheduling and snapshots. Okay. What this allows you to do is this allows you to essentially automatically run the report, and it will save the report in exactly that state when it was run. So that if you set it to run at 10 a.m. every Monday, and then you take a look at that snapshot later on in the week, you will see that report as it was on Monday at 10 a.m. Gives you a good idea of where things stood at that exact time. Okay, and to do that, it's very simple. We would simply click on our report, and we click on Schedule Report. Okay. Once I click that, that would give us an option of either on demand or on a schedule. On demand means I just want to run it this one time. I'll tell you when I'm going to when I want it run, and just run that one time and create a snapshot for me, which is that exactly how that report would have looked at that exact time. In our case, we're going to select a schedule, which is a little bit more in depth and usually a little bit more useful because it'll constantly repeat itself. So we're going to select a scheduled report. We can specify once, hourly, daily, weekly. So we're going to set it up weekly. We're going to do it actually every Sunday. Sunday at we'll just leave it at 1 a.m. every Sunday, and it would run the report every 1 week. So every Sunday at 1 a.m. it would run this report and create a snapshot. Okay. You can specify to start it on a particular date. So if you don't want to start it until next month, you can do that. And you can specify an end date. So if you only want to run this report for the first year, for example, you can do that. In this case, we're going to select no end date. We just want it to run all the time. We're going to click Next. We can edit the filter. So we can filter out particular opportunities. In this case, we won't. We'll just leave it to have all opportunities in it. We're going to click Next. It'll give us a summary here, and it'll also give us a little bit of a note at the bottom. Okay, this is just to let you know that for automatically generated snapshots, CRM will only hold on to the last 8. So if we run it every week, we will only have the last 8 weeks worth of snapshots. Okay, so so in that case, the 9th snapshot will always be automatically removed from the CRM when the next one is created. Okay, we're going to click Create. It's going to take a few seconds. It's going to create an automatic job, and then we're going to click Finish. Okay, now let's go through this again, but the simpler method with Schedule Report. We're going to create an on-demand one, and we're going to click Next. We're going to leave the filter by default. generate it now, or just save a snapshot definition, which means that we can define a particular snapshot that we can run on demand later on. This one we're just going to generate right now. We're going to click Save. It's going to generate the same request. It's going to run the report. Click Finish. And if I refresh my reports list, we should be able to see that snapshot in here. So you see here, we have some scheduled snapshots and the on-demand snapshots. Okay. So with this one, we have a snapshot here. If we click the little triangle, we have the snapshot here from that date. And if we click it, it'll open up the report snapshot, which is exactly how the data was at the time. And if you notice, it opens up a little bit quicker because the report already generated and just sort of saved itself in the background inside CRM. Again, same thing applies. You can drill down. You can do all that. You could do all the same things that you would do in a normal report, but it's just in a state where it was when that snapshot was run. Okay, and that's how you would schedule that in. All right. So now you have your report done. You have your report set up. It's running automatically. Everybody should be able to see it, but some people cannot. Well, that's probably because your report settings may not be quite right for the organization as a whole. So now we're going to look into the report settings. What settings can you set on your report? What settings should you set on your report? And what that changes within your report and a CRM. So the first thing is that default filter. If you remember when we created the report, we specified this report to say, give me everything within the past 30 days. If you want that default filter to change, you could run through the report wizard again, or you could simply select the report and click Edit Your Default Filter. Okay, this will just allow you to change the filter, and then you can change that to say, give me the last 90 days, save default filter, and you're done. And that's the default filter has been changed on that report. So that's relatively easy. But what if people can't see your report? Well, that could be because your report, when it's initially created, is a personal report. Some people are not allowed to see other people's reports, and they can only see reports that are available to the whole company. If that's the case, there's two ways of doing it. One, to convert a report to an organizational report, you can click the three dots here, and you can edit the properties within there. But a better way of doing it is actually clicking the edit button. Clicking the edit button will actually show you what status the report is in. So it'll show you here in administration as an organization or individual, and here it'll allow you to say make report available to organization or convert report back to a personal report. Okay, so I'm going to make this report available to the organization. Okay, and done. And now anybody that has access to basic reporting can now see this report. Okay. Now we come into the section where do we want this report to be seen inside CRM? Do you only want it to be visible in the report section, or do you want it to be visible in other areas as well? So this is the display in option at the very, very bottom here. So right now, by default, a report will appear everywhere. But you know what? We don't want it to be available in a list where you look up a list of opportunities. We want it to be available from the form or the reports area only. So we just remove that option by double-clicking it or using the arrows to move it back and forth. So that's where it's available. And we click OK. And now it's no longer available on your list of views of opportunities if that's what you wish. Okay. Here, the related record types means it's only visible on the opportunity entity. There's no point in adding this to other entities because it's not linked to them. It won't give you any advantage. But if there are reports that are linked to multiple entities, you could do that. You can select any number of entities that it appears for in their forms and views and grids and everything like that. Now, report categories. This allows you to essentially categorize your reports into various sections. By default, Dynamic CRM has 4 sections: administrative, marketing, sales, and service reports. These can be edited and changed, and I'll show you where to do that in just a sec. But here, this in fact is a sales report, so we're going to select sales. I'm going to move that over. So now you can create different advanced finds or views for reports. So here we can go to sales reports, and we'll see that now our sales report, that's because I didn't save it. Silly me. So my apologies there. So now that I save that, that should, there we go. Our sales status report appears there. Now that it is in the sales report section. Okay. Now, what if your organization creates a report on some custom entities that don't really fall into any of these categories? And you want to create a new sales, a new reporting category code. Well, that is actually not found in the reporting section. That's actually found in the system administration section. So we would go to settings. We would go to administration. We would go then to system settings. Then we would go into reporting, which is here. And here are all of your sections. Now you can remove sections, change the names, add new sections, change the order of them, and you can also select a default value. So when you're creating new reports, by default, you can drop new reports into a particular section so that they automatically appear in a particular area within your CRM here. Okay, so that would be essentially the final little bit of what you could configure on your reports. Again, there are other ways of generating reports that do require a little bit of programming experience, and it's usually reserved for a developer. And also at a later time, we will be also reviewing ways of generating Excel and Word templates on a later tutorial, which will also allow you to create other types of reports using a slightly different method. A little bit more technical, but also a little bit more flexible as well. And that will come up at some time later in a later tutorial on that. At this point in time, that is pretty much it for all of the sections. So we've covered the built-in CRM reports, creating and updating reports. We've been able to add a chart to our report. We've scheduled our reports and created snapshots so that people can review the report from an exact moment in time. And we've reviewed the report properties, making sure everybody can see them, they're in their appropriate location, and that everything is labeled appropriately and easy to find. All right. So that pretty much covers off that basic reporting section. If anybody has any questions at this point in time, you're more than welcome to ask away, and we'll be more than happy to answer some of your questions here. I noticed that one question here.
A couple of questions seem to be coming in.
Yep, so I'm just trying to expand my questions here. There we go. So let's see. Could you create a column to count or distinctly count a non-numeric field? Yes. So in your summary section where you have your groupings, if you select a summary as a count, you can do a count of how many records are within that grouping. So if you wanted to say see how many opportunities are within that customer, like we did in our current report, we will see that that customer has 2 opportunities. There'll be two opportunities underneath. So that's how you count that. You will not necessarily be able to do a count within the individual row. It's within the grouping is where you have the count here. Excellent. All right. And I think that is it for the questions. Thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate everybody stopping by and listening to me go on about reports, but it is something very useful and very powerful. Once you create a few reports, you'll realize how easy it is to be able to get the information out of your CRM, which is obviously one of the most important parts of your CRM, is to actually be able to report and analyze and see what exactly is going on. So thank you again, everybody. I appreciate the time.